The Championship is absolutely relentless. More games to predict now for Tuesday and Wednesday. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be predicting the scores of week 7 of this the 2021-2022 Championship season. But before we get on to this week's predictions, let's have a quick look back at how well we all got on in week 6. So as you can see, I actually came top of the shop with 12 points this weekend, or last weekend I should say. 2 perfect scores, that being the Stoke 2-1 victory against Huddersfield and the Bluebirds away victory against Nottingham Forest. Close to 12 points were Simon Ford with 11 points and the Blades Way also with 11 points, and both those guys got 2 perfect scores as well. So how does that affect the overall league table? Well, as you can see, I've pulled away now 6 points ahead of Shane O'Donnell, who's on 51 points. I'm on 57. All the way down to newcomer Lewis Donnan, who's on 3 points. But it's all to play for, early days yet, and yeah, there's a long way to go. Marathon, not a sprint, as they all say. That's enough of last week. Let's make some predictions now for week 7. If you haven't seen this series before, I attempt to predict all 12 championship fixtures in under 2 minutes. Haven't been able to do it so far. It's normally around about the 4 or 5 minute mark, but we'll give it a go all the same. So on the count of 3, 2, 1, let's go. So first up, we got Blackburn Rovers coming up against Hull City. Blackburn Rovers last time out had a creditable draw at home against Luton Town, and Hull City also drew away against Swansea. In this one, another tight match. Hull City can't seem to score at the moment, so I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory to the home side, Blackburn Rovers. Next, we've got Blackpool coming up against Huddersfield. Blackpool with an amazing victory against high-flying Fulham in the last match, and Huddersfield lost for the first time in 4 matches away against Stoke City. So tight one to call, but I fancy Huddersfield to bounce back in this one, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 away victory to their Terriers. Next, we got Bournemouth coming up against QPR. Both teams have started the season fairly well. Bournemouth on the weekend had a very good home win against Barnsley. They were very convincing, and in fact Bournemouth haven't actually lost this season. QPR also haven't lost this season, so this is going to be very tight. However, I fancy the Cherries in this one to win in a very tight game, 2-1. Next up, we got Sheffield United coming up against Preston North End. Now, Sheffield United recorded their first victory of the season last time out with I think it was 1-0, wasn't it, against Peterborough? I'm sure it was 1-0. Actually, sorry, it was 6-2. Of course, they absolutely demolished the Posh, didn't they? Coming up against Preston North End, and Preston North End have sort of turned their fortunes around since that miserable start. They drew away against Bristol City. Tough one to call, but I fancy Sheffield United again in this one, and I'm going to go for a 1-0 win. Next, we got Reading coming up against Peterborough. Not sure how this one is going to pan out. It's 22nd against 23rd, so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Next, we've got West Bromwich Albion, who currently find themselves at the top of the table, coming up against Derby County, who find themselves in 16th position. And Derby lost last weekend, I believe. I'm sure it was a loss. It was away against Birmingham, which was on the Friday night, of course. Yeah, should be a straightforward victory to Albion in this one, and I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to WBA. We move on to the Wednesday fixtures. We've got Birmingham City coming up against Fulham. I think Fulham have bounced back in this one, even though Birmingham have been doing very well this season and find themselves just outside the playoff zone in 7th position. But I'm going to go for a Fulham victory in this one, 2-0. Next up, we got Bristol City coming up against Luton Town, and Bristol City have stopped the rot, you could say. They're now up to 11th position, drawing at home against Preston last time out. Coming up against Luton, who sort of slipped down the table a little bit, back-to-back draws with, and last time out it was a 2-2 away draw against Blackburn. I think this is going to be another draw, and I'm going to go for Bristol City 1, Luton Town 1. Next up, we've got Coventry against Cardiff City. Another tough one to call, but Cardiff's away form has been magnificent this season. Coventry, an excellent victory on the weekend against tough opponents in Middlesbrough. But I actually fancy Cardiff's away form to carry them through in this one in a tight affair, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to the Bluebirds. Then we've got Nottingham Forest coming up against Middlesbrough. Nottingham Forest, bottom of the table. Could this be Houghton's last game in charge? Possibly. I see Middlesbrough winning this one 1-0. Then we've got Stoke City coming up against Barnsley. Stoke City in third position, only lost once this season. Barnsley, sort of middle of the road, find themselves in 17th position, but they've only recorded one victory in the league this season. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Stoke. And finally, we got Swansea City coming up against Millwall. Swansea finding it very difficult to score this season, only scored 4 goals so far in the league. Millwall at the moment find themselves, I think they've only recorded one victory themselves. Last weekend it was a draw away against West Brom, which was very good, but I can see this one finishing all square, and I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw. So stop the clock. There we are, 4 minutes 26, which was a lot quicker than the last video, which was something like 5.5 minutes, guys. But yeah, remember to leave your predictions in the comment section. See if you can move up the table, see if you can catch me as I proudly sit at the top of that table. But thanks for watching. As always, enjoy the football over the next couple of days, and I'll see you all in the next video. Remember to leave your predictions below.